Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaya Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriya Nashtuprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, Chapter 4, Sri Madhvendra Puri's devotional service. Text 76 onwards. So yesterday we discussed how they installed the deity of Gopal on top of Govardhan, then all the villagers from nearby, they brought stuff from their homes, rice, dal, and atta, and they started cooking, and how Abhishek was performed for Gopalji, and huge amount of prasadam was there. अनेक घट भरी दिला सुभाषित जाला बहुदिन क्षुधाय Gopal खाइला सकल. Many water pots were filled with scented water for drinking, and Lord Shri Gopal, who had been hungry for many days, ate everything offered to him. So he gets hungry. It's not like he's Murti and he doesn't get hungry. Of course, he's a Lord, he is a deity. He gets hungry. यद्यपि गोपाल सब अन्न व्यंजन खाइला तार हस्त स्पर्श पुनः तेमानी हाइला. Although Shri Gopal ate everything offered, still by the touch of his transcendental hand, everything remained as before. Those who are not devotees, they cannot understand. They think it's all myth. It just cannot happen. You are superstitious people. That's what they call us. Or you're just sentimental fools. No, he eats everything and then he can present everything back as it is. What's so difficult for him? The atheists cannot understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing in the form of the deity, can eat all the food offered by his devotees. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upritam ashanami prayatatmana. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. The Lord is Purna, complete, and therefore he eats everything offered by his devotee. However, by the touch of his transcendental hand, all the food remains exactly as before. It is a quality that is changed. Before the food was offered, it was something else. But after it is offered, the food acquires a transcendental quality. Because the Lord is Purna, complete, he remains the same even after eating. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. That's in Ishopanishad. The food offered to Krishna is qualitatively as good as Krishna. Just as Krishna is Avya, indestructible, the food eaten by Krishna, being identical with him, remains as before. So food becomes spiritualized, it's Krishnized. Apart from this, Krishna can eat the food with any one of his transcendental senses. So that's also mentioned in Brahm Samhita. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti. He can eat by seeing the food or by touching it. Nor should one think that it is necessary for Krishna to eat. He does not become hungry like an ordinary human being. Nonetheless, he presents himself as being hungry, and as such, he can eat everything and anything, regardless of quantity. The philosophy underlying Krishna's eating is understandable by our transcendental senses. When our senses are purified by constantly being engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, we can understand Krishna's activities, names, forms, qualities, pastimes, and entourage. So, because our senses are not pure, not spiritualized, so we cannot understand the pastimes of Krishna. Atah Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahayam indriya sevan mukhe hi jivvatu swayam eva sfurati yada. No one can understand Krishna by the blunt material senses, but he reveals himself to the devotees, being pleased with them for their transcendental loving service unto him. He reveals himself. The devotees understand Krishna through revelation. It is not possible for a mundane scholar to understand Krishna and his pastimes through research work on the non-devotional platform. So one cannot understand. And this is a pastime. Mahaprabhu is talking about Gopal, who came in the dream of Madhya Puri, and he told that you install him on the Govardhan, and he's accepting service. But those who don't have faith, what they say? Oh, this is all emotional stuff. It didn't happen like this. You all made it up. Or this is all mythology. This is a very favorite word of everybody these days, mythology. Hindu mythology, or Greek mythology, Indian mythology. Because British, especially Macaulay, they called him Lord Macaulay, I won't call him Lord Macaulay. Macaulay came and this was his mission, to put down Vedic scriptures and to bring forth Christian scriptures, especially Bible. So he introduced this word mythology in our education system. So when we use this word mythology, our brain starts thinking that way. It's all myth. Myth means something made up, mithya. It's not real. These are just stories, made up stories. So, first thing, if our kids, they're learning this word in the school, if you cannot go tell the teachers in the school not to teach this word, at least teach your kids the right thing. This is not mythology. This is history. This is true. This has happened. Mythology is something like Spider-Man or Batman, all these things. They don't exist. They are made up stories, fictional stories. Hanumanji is not mythology. Krishna, Rama, they're not mythology. So all these words are there for us to stop believing in our own scriptures, in the pastimes of the Lord, and how he deals, how he has loving reciprocations with his devotees. And this, thanks to Prabhupada, of course, all the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas before, but specifically Prabhupada, who brought this knowledge out all over the world, and the devotee and people are still becoming devotees because of his books. How he explained everything. Iha anubhav kaila Madhav Gosai Tarathai Gopalera Lokaya Kichunai. Now, how Gopal ate everything while the food remained the same was transcendently perceived by Madhavendra Puri Goswami. Nothing remains a secret to the devotees of the Lord. Ekadine Rudyoge Aiche Mahotsav Kaila Gopala Prabhave Hai Anena Janila. The wonderful festival and installation of Shri Gopalji was arranged in one day. In only one day. Certainly, all this was accomplished by the potency of Gopal. No one but a devotee can understand this. The Krishna consciousness movement has spread all over the world within a very short time, within 5 years, and mundane people are very much astonished at this. Because Prabhupada started writing, or he wrote this whole Chaitanya Charitamrita, I believe, in 1972. That's why he said 5 years. Because literally it was started in 1966, and by 71 it had already established and already spread all over. And Prabhupada is writing books, and he was still spreading it more and more. However, by the grace of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we understand that everything is possible by the grace of Krishna. Why does Krishna have to take 5 years? In 5 days, he can spread his name and fame all over the world like wildfires. Those who have faith in and devotion to Krishna can understand that these things happen so wonderfully by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We are simply the instruments. In the fierce battle of Kurukshetra, Arjun was victorious within 18 days simply because Krishna's grace was on his side. And there were 18 Akshohini Sena, 11 on Kaurava's side, 7 on Pandava's side. And still Arjun was victorious, or Pandavas were victorious, but mainly because of Bhim and Arjun. They were the main warriors. And of these two, especially Arjun. Because why? Because Krishna was on his side. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanurdhara, Tatra Sharir Vijayur Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Mataram. This is the last sloka of Bhagavad Gita, which Sanjay is speaking to Dhritarashtra, to tell him wherever Krishna and Arjuna are there, definitely that side will be victorious. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. Dhruva Nitara Mataramam. That is my opinion. So if Krishna, of course, what is impossible for Krishna? He owns everything. He is the source of everything, and he has all the powers. If he wants to do something, what's so difficult? If the preachers in our Krishna consciousness movement are sincere devotees of Krishna, Krishna will always be with them because he is very kind and favorable to all his devotees. Just as Arjuna and Krishna were victorious in the battle of Kurukshetra, this Krishna consciousness movement will surely emerge victorious if we but remain sincere devotees of the Lord and serve the Lord according to the advice of the predecessors, the 6 Goswamis and other devotees of the Lord. That's the condition. If we remain sincere devotees. As Narottam Das Thakur has stated, Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas, Janame Janame Hai Ayabhinas. The Krishna consciousness devotees must always desire to remain in the society of devotees, Bhakta Sanevas. They cannot go outside the Krishna consciousness society or movement. Within the society, we must try to serve the predecessors by preaching Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult and spreading his name and fame all over the world. If we attempt this seriously within the society, it will be successfully done. There is no question of estimating how this will happen in the mundane sense, but without a doubt it happens by the grace of Krishna. And actually, it can only happen by the grace of Krishna. We just become instruments, tools in the hands of Krishna or in the hands of Prabhupada. And let them use us the way they want to. Achman diya dila vidaka sanjaya, arati karila loka kare jaya jaya. Madhavendra Puri offered water to Gopal for washing his mouth, and he gave him betel nuts to chew. Then, while Arati was performed, all the people chanted Jai, Jai, all glories to Gopal. Shaya Karaila Nutan Khata Anaya Nava Vasra Anita Rupare Padi. Arranging for the Lord's rest, Sri Madhavendra Puri brought a new cot, and over this he spread a new bedspread, and thus made the bed ready. Trina tati diya chari deka avarela, uparete ek tati diya chadila. A temporary temple was constructed by covering the bed all around with a straw mattress. Thus, there was a bed and a straw mattress to cover it. Puri Gosai Agya Dila Sakala Brahmane Abala Vridha Gramir Loka Kara Bhojan. After the Lord was laid down to rest on the bed, Madhavendra Puri gathered all the Brahmins who had prepared the prasadam and said to them, now feed everyone sumptuously, from the children on up to the aged. Sabe vashi krame krame bhojan khar karila brahmana brahmani gane age khayavela. All the people gathered there sat down to honor the prasadam. And by they took food. All the Brahmins and the wives were fed first. According to the Varnashram system, the Brahmins are always honored first. Thus, at the festival, the Brahmins and the wives are first offered the remnants of food, and then the others, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. This has always been the system, and it is still prevalent in India, even though the caste Brahmins are not qualified. The system is still current due to Varnashram institutional rules and regulations. So this is how we respect everybody, and it is Prabhupada mentions. And then the others, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. So nowhere it is said the Shudras were untouchables and they could not eat, they could not come and take darshan of the Lord in the temple, they could not eat in the same line or same prasad. It was never the thing. All done by politicians. Anya gramer loka yat dekhite aila, Gopala dekhiya sab prasad khaila. Those who took prasadam included not only the people of Govardhan village, but also those who came from other villages to see the deity of Gopal. They too were offered prasadam to eat. देखिया पुरीर प्रभाव लोके चमत्कार पूर्व अन्नकूट येना haila साक्षात्कार. Seeing the influence of Madhavendra Puri, all the people gathered there were struck with wonder. They saw that the Annakut ceremony, which had been performed before during the time of Krishna, was now taking place again by the mercy of Sri Madhavendra Puri. And also another reason is because this Gopal deity is in the form of lifting Govardhan hill. So again, just like it happened during Krishna's time, Krishna's pastime, the lifting of Govardhan pastime. So this Gopal deity is in the same mood, same pose. So he likes his Annakut. Formerly, at the end of Dwapar Yuga, all the cowherd men of Vrindavan had arranged to worship King Indra, but they gave his worship up, following the advice of Krishna. Instead, they performed a ceremony whereby they worshipped the cows, Brahmins, and Govardhan hill. At that time, Krishna expanded himself and declared, I am Govardhan hill. In this way, he accepted all the paraphernalia and food offered to Govardhan hill. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. When Krishna said, prepare very nice foods of all descriptions from the grains and ghee collected for the yajna. Prepare rice, dal, then halwa, pakoda, puri, and all kinds of milk preparations like sweet rice, sweet ball, sandesh, rasgulla, and laddu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, therefore advised the cowherd men to stop the Indra Yajna and begin the Govardhan Puja to chastise Indra, who was very much puffed up at being the supreme controller of the heavenly planets. The honest and simple cowherd men headed by Nanda Maharaj accepted Krishna's proposal and executed in detail everything he advised. They performed Govardhan worship and circumambulation of the hill. According to the instruction of Lord Krishna, Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd men called in learned Brahmins and began to worship Govardhan hill by chanting Vedic hymns and offering prasadam. The inhabitants of Vrindavan assembled together, decorated their cows, and gave them grass. Keeping the cows in front, they began to circumambulate Govardhan hill. So that was Govardhan Puja during Krishna's time. Sakala Brahmane Puri Vaishnava Karila Sei Seva Madhya Sabani Ojila. All the Brahmins present on that occasion were initiated by Madhvendra Puri into the Vaishnava cult, and Madhvendra Puri engaged them in different types of service. In the scriptures it is stated, Shatta Karma Nipuno Vipuro Mantra Tantra Visharad. A qualified Brahman must be expert in occupational duties of a Brahman. His duties are mentioned as 6 Brahminical engagements. Patan means that a Brahman must be conversant with the Vedic scriptures. He must also be able to teach others to study the Vedic literatures. This is Patan. He must also be expert in worshipping different deities and in performing the Vedic rituals, yajan. On account of this yajan, the Brahman, being the head of society, performs all the Vedic rituals of Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. This is called yajan, assisting others in performing ceremonies. The remaining 2 items are dan and pratigraha. The Brahman accepts all kinds of contributions, pratigraha, from his followers, namely the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. But he does not keep all the money. He keeps only as much as required and give the balance to others in charity. Dan. See, he also gives charity. But the way the Brahmins are shown in the movies and in other places, that he's a very greedy person. Big belly, big guy, and very greedy. He's always after money, 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 money. And this kind of image has been set in the mind of general people that this is what Brahmins are. And he's always shown like he's kicking untouchables out. Oh, you get away from here, go away. And this greedy and very nasty person. But this is not what the scriptures say. Patan Patan, Yajan Yajan, Dana Pratigra. This is what his duties are. See the difference? In order for such a qualified Brahman to worship the deity, he must be a Vaishnava. Thus, the Vaishnava's position is superior to that of a Brahman. This example given by Madhvendra Puri confirms that even though a Brahman may be very expert, he cannot become a priest or servitor of the Vishnu Murti unless he is initiated in Vaishnava mantra. After installing the deity of Gopal, Madhvendra Puri initiated all the Brahmins into Vaishnavism. He then allotted the Brahmins different types of service to the deity. From 4 in the morning until 10 at night, from Mangalartik to Shayanartik, there must be at least 5 or 6 Brahmins to take care of the deity. 6 aratrikas are performed in the temple, and food is frequently offered to the deity and the prasadam distributed. This is the method of worshipping the deity according to the rules and regulations set by the predecessors. Our sampradaya belongs to the disciplic succession of Madhvendra Puri, who belong to Madhva Sampradaya. We are in the disciplic succession of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was initiated by Sri Ishwar Puri, a disciple of Madhvendra Puri's. Our sampradaya, therefore, called the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. As such, we must carefully follow in the footsteps of Sri Madhvendra Puri and observe how he installed the Gopal deity on top of Govardhan hill, how he arranged and performed the Annakota ceremony in only one day, and so forth. Our installation of deities in America and in the wealthy countries of Europe should be carried out in terms of Sri Madhavendra Puri's activities. All the servitors of the deity must be strictly qualified as Brahmins and specifically must engage in the Vaishnava custom of offering as much prasadam as possible and distributing it to the devotees who visit the temple to see the Lord. Hmm. So this was a program by Prabhupada, preaching, prasadam distribution. He called it all Sankirtan. Prasadam distribution is also Sankirtan. But um, his idea of prasadam was not just khichdi distribution. His idea was to give a full meal to everybody who comes to the temple. So let's see. Slowly, slowly, we must get to that point. Okay, I guess I can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, you all have safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.